Hello and welcome everybody to my review to Disney's latest animated feature, Zootopia. Well, if you're wondering what that was some music from Zootopia, the sad Zootopia theme I would call it. And yes, this is just something like a preview, because I will make, after this video, I will directly make a soundtrack review to Zootopia, and there I will also play this theme, but a bit longer and a bit more. That was just a bit because it fits to Zootopia. But well, so if you are interested in the soundtrack, if you like this music, then stay tuned and watch the soundtrack review I will make directly after this video. But now I don't want to talk about the soundtrack first, but I will talk about the whole film, Zootopia. Well, Zootopia. It is a glooming city where animals of all breeds live together in peace and harmony, as the trailer says. And it is the story about Judy Hopps, who goes to Zootopia to become a real police cop, and yeah, there she has one case, but if she fails and doesn't make it in 2 days and solves the case, then she loses her job as a police officer or as a cop. Yes, and that is the story. And then she also meets Nick Wilde, a fox, and they have to work together on this case. And yes, that is in some way the story. And of course, nobody believes that she can be a cop because she's just a bunny, Judy Hopps. And bunny don't do that. They just something like they make something with carrots and so on. They are anxious or nervous and yes, a bit shy, and so they are not so the animals that are brave, so that they are made for the job as a cop, as it is said in the film. But Judy doesn't care for that. She wants to make it, and she wants to prove everybody that she can be a real cop. And yeah, so then she has the case and has to work with Nick Wilde, and there is also the difference. Nick Wilde is a predator, and Judy is a prey. So that is also the theme of the film, because it wants to show it wants to say that we should reduce our prejudices. I'm sorry if I can't speak it out so good, because it is the first time I know this word, because I'm German. But well, prejudice. The film wants to show that we should reduce our prejudice, and that everything starts with ourselves. With not just everyone should reduce his or her prejudices, and just that we don't even think that we also have prejudices, because even this good-natured Judy Hopps, who is really very good-natured and so good, and she also thinks that she doesn't have really prejudices, and yeah, but in the end, she has also made bad experiences with foxes, especially in her childhood. And so, also to Nick Wilde, although they build up a friendship, she, in the last act of the film, which is in my opinion the strongest, there, she also shows a bit of her prejudices. Even if it is subconscious, it is still, she has also prejudices, even though she don't want to have this true, that she doesn't believe that in some way, but then she recognizes this, and yeah, that is it. That is also another thing what is so clever about this film, because just it it also shows that even this good-natured character, in the end, she also has prejudices, and first needs to reduce her prejudices herself, so that she can also make the world a better place. And then at the end she has also a speech where she also in some way tells the message of the film. And this is made very, very good. It is so you also, of course it has also a lot of humor, this story. There are a lot of good jokes. And so for example with the slots, everyone has seen the trailer. Or we have of course the naturalist, and of course Mr. Big. He's of course also hilarious with his voice and everything. Yeah, that is very, very funny. But also some little other jokes they bring in, or sentences they make the main characters. I like both main characters, Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps. Nick Wilde has also always this smile on his face that is just kind of hilarious. His facial expressions are very, very cool in some way. And still he has also these emotions, because he has also, in his childhood, he had to go through prejudices, because he also wanted to become something that normally just preyers are and not predators. But he wanted to be the first prey to do this, but the other, he wanted to be the first predator who wants to do something that just preyers make. But then the preyers also had their prejudices, because he's a fox and that they don't trust him. And so yeah, he also has to go through this bad thing, and this is also shown. And then it is just like something like a poker face when he just is smiling and everything, and is kind of looks kind of casual and so on. But in the end, he has also had also to go through quite bad things, and yeah. And that is also something that then connects him with Judy, because also Judy has this dream of a real cop, but nobody believes in that. And that is also something that connects them, and that is very well made, because we only circa at the middle of the film we hear from Nick Wilde his tragic story of the childhood. And this is quite cool, because you don't really expect that from this character, because he just looks like he's just happy, he's just like casual and everything, and yeah, just this lazy guy, and yeah, this is more something like a poker face, because inside of himself he has also this fears and everything. This is very well made when it comes out a bit. So yes, that is everything there is made very clever. And yes, the story is just so good, the message of this film. It is so clever with the racism. Of course, I also knew when I first saw this film this will be a bit of racism, but I didn't want to see this film really. I just thought, wow, another animal film, and it is from Disney, and they just make computer animated characters. I wish they could make again classical drawn films where there's really everything drawn and not made with a computer. I think that it's quite sad that they are just now all just computer animated films. But still, I had to say, wow, this film really impressed me because of this, how this message was. It was, of course, I knew it was something with racism, but how this was made, it was made in a very original and very fitting way made that fits just to our society, how we are now. And this film is very, very modern, the most modern animated film so far, I would say, because that is just they all have their handies, and they all have just all these modern things. This is quite interesting, how this is just really how the real world of us is, just that this is with animals. Or I would also always say they are all humans that have different costumes of animals. That is just in some way because they all have characters, so they are just like normal humans, just that they have they look like animals, and that is also what makes it more interesting. If it will all be with humans, oh my god, that would be kind of boring. But with this different animals, it also shows this diversity of our general world. Also, the world Zootopia, and this city, this metropole, is also very different. It has, I think, four different. It's different it is separated in four places, I would say, with different climates. Some with snow, the other one with big heat, and then something like a jungle, and then more this really looking like a normal city. And yes, there's also like this diversity of our world, of our whole world. We have also very different countries and everything, and then also all the characters are very, very different. Just everyone, so many different animals. With one, the giraffe is really tall, or the elephant, and then just very little mice, and they all just live still, although they are so different. They all live together there. And this is just like, also we should just be like, just that we all have our differences and everything, but that this is great, that it is great that we have all our differences and so on. And yes, that is just that we should accept that and just celebrate our differences. That also the film shows and says. And I also love that just also how much depth this film has, although it just seems to be another animated comedy. Like every animated film that is very good, it should have emotions, and this film has it, and I love that. It has not so emotional scenes where I would say these brings me to tears, but still there are some scenes that really gives me goosebumps, and that is enough for me, because I cry very less. In Toy Story 3 at the end I cried, and on Kung Fu Panda 2, or at the end of Fantasia, but it is very seldom that I cry at a movie, But goosebumps I have often when a movie is good made with the emotions, and this film it is also made very good. So yes, I also just love that, and yes, what can we say? No, so now you know the message in some way, and it is just made very, very clever. It is made very, very clever, and also just with all the problems today with the refugees, and yes, with all our refugees in this. The problem in our society today with all the refugees, or I hope you know the word. I have watched it, and yes, it is. That is also, we have all these problems, and we should just a bit more be more tolerant. We should just show more tolerance to them, and just shouldn't have this bad prejudices about them, or about people from other countries. We should just live together in peace. And this is just like Zootopia is, but then in the third act, I would say, or in the last act, and this is really the strongest act of the film, I think, because there are also the emotions and so on, and there's just this kind of twist where you just think, okay, now the case is over, she gets an interview and so on, like, okay, now the film will end, and then there comes the best part of the film, and the smartest one, and oh my god, this is so great. When she has a speech, and where she just has also this prejudices, and then everything there is just like, oh my god, and everything turns out bad, and then there are really these differences, and the preyers are afraid of the predators, and yes, this is then this bad thing. Although Zootopia is a city where everyone lives together in peace, there it changed at this point, and that is very clever. And then but in the end, of course, it also has a happy ending in some way, of course. So, but then, of course, at the end we have then this peace is back, and they are. But this is just such a smart scene, also. Just this, it is very smart and very clever of the film. How he makes this, and that even our protagonist then has these prejudices, and at the end has to work on herself first, and then she also says this in her speech, And this is just very great. I also love the speech at the end. It is just so touching and with the music, and oh my god, this is very, very great. So I now have talked enough about the message. I guess you have now a clue about it. It is just made very clever and very smart and very perfectly. And yes. And then we have, when I talked about the twist at the end, we have also a twist with the who is the villain in this movie. You just know who the villain is in the very last minutes. It is, okay, not the very last minutes, but really at the end. And that is very smart because you don't know who is the real villain of this film till the end when it comes out. And that is also a twist where I think, for example, in Frozen there was also this twist villain where I just at the beginning knew, okay, this will be the villain. And at the end he was, and I just thought, that was so clear, it was so bad made, I just don't like Frozen. And I think this twist wasn't, I thought the twist wasn't made very good, but here the twist is made very good because you just don't expect that. At least for me, I just not expected who will be the villain, and so I was blown away and I just loved that also. It was also a villain where you just wouldn't think this could be a villain. And yet, so much about the story. It is very great and very clever, and in some way the best part of the film. Then of course the soundtrack, the music composed by Michael Giacchino. I love his score, but I would say more to this in my soundtrack review for Zootopia. So I just say I love it, and I think it is underrated. It should be more recognized because it is very emotional. It is also funny. It has just everything a great soundtrack should have. But you will hear more about it in my soundtrack review. And the song to everything I also like. And it is also very with passion and it is just so true and really motivates you. And now I come to the characters. Though to the characters I already said something, so just shortly I say I also love the characters. My favorite characters are really the protagonists, so the fox and the bunny, and I think that is very great because often you just have a side character where you say he is very cool and the protagonist or something like, you have already seen that and so on. But no, these are really, I love these characters the most and I love that. This is just very great. And this fox is just something like casual and lazy, and when he smiles it is so funny and it looks cool. And also Judy Hopps is just so sympathetic with all her good nature and everything. She's just also sympathetic, and you just love these characters. And I also love some of the side characters. Clawhauser is hilarious, and he's just also a bit sweet. And Chief Bogo is also cool, and the naturalist is so cool when oh my god, everything is cool. And I also love all the characters, all these different characters. And yes, and to the animation, just the city Zootopia looks awesome. It looks really cool. It has great colors, and it also fits. It is amazing in the opening scene when Try Everything comes, and when she just drives to Zootopia, it looks awesome. And the rest is just nothing spectacular, but still something good. And of course the characters are well animated, and you also see this they are so fluffy with her fur. It is also cool to see and a bit sweet, and yeah, the animation is also good. It has some spectacular scene with the city overall. It looks great, but the rest is just something like, okay, it is nothing spectacular, but still good. And the character animation is also good. So in the end I can say Zootopia is for me in the strongest part, of course, the story and the message. And I also love the music, the characters, the animation is also good. And yes, it is a very good and clever film, and you should see it if you haven't already. Yes, it is and I wouldn't have expected that this film is so good. It is very, very well and very great. Yes, you just have to see it. It has also Pixar quality in my opinion, although it is not from Pixar but just from Disney. And it is very, very great. It is so clever in every way. And yeah, you just have to see it. It makes very fun, and the great thing is at the end, you will just feel lucky. This film just makes you lucky. And that is great. With an end credit scene where Shakira sings her song and everything, it is also a very well made scene. So go see it. And then you can stay tuned because I will make a soundtrack review to Zootopia. So stay on this channel if you like it. Give me a like, say in the commentaries what you think about the film, tell me your opinion. And yeah, say how you like this how you like this review. Do you like it or do you don't like it? And then always say why you like or why you didn't like it. Give me a like if you liked it. It would be a great support. And if you like those videos, then subscribe my channel and share my videos with your friends. It would be a great support. So yeah, and my next video will be the soundtrack review to Zootopia. So stay tuned, and I just say goodbye till the next video.